What if your business feels chaotic, goals keep slipping, and your team isn't aligned on the same mission? In Traction, Get a Grip on Your Business, entrepreneur Gino Wickman introduces the Entrepreneurial Operating System, a proven framework designed to bring clarity, accountability, and consistent growth to businesses of all sizes. From defining your vision to tracking key metrics, mastering weekly meetings, and resolving team issues, this book gives you the practical tools you need to build a winning organization that runs smoothly, without constant firefighting. In this video from Detailed Book Summaries, we break down Wickman's essential EOS tools: the Vision/Traction Organizer, the Level 10 Meeting Agenda, Scorecards, Rocks, and the People Analyzer. You'll learn how to implement them step by step to transform your business culture, sharpen decision-making, and accelerate results. If you're serious about taking control of your business, creating traction, and turning your vision into measurable progress, hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss the strategic breakdowns that can help you lead smarter and grow faster. Traction. Get a Grip on Your Business. Gino Wickman. Chapter 1: The Entrepreneurial Operating System. Gaining traction starts here. Most business owners didn't start their companies for chaos. They had a dream, a vision. They believed in something, a better product, a smarter service, a new way to make life easier. But somewhere along the journey, things got messy. Growth slowed. Problems repeated themselves. Meetings felt pointless. Employees lacked direction. And instead of steering the ship, the entrepreneur became the firefighter, always reacting, never leading. That's exactly where Traction by Gino Wickman steps in. In Chapter 1, Wickman presents a system clear, structured, and battle-tested, called the Entrepreneurial Operating System, EOS. EOS isn't a motivational pep talk. It's not a theory-heavy management framework. It's a simple, practical set of tools designed to help entrepreneurs get a grip on their business. And everything begins with one fundamental idea. Most businesses aren't suffering from a lack of ideas, they're suffering from a lack of execution. Wickman argues that the real power lies not in brainstorming, strategizing, or talking endlessly about vision. The power lies in doing, executing consistently. That's why EOS exists. It's about helping leadership teams strengthen the 6 key components that determine a company's success. These aren't just buzzwords or abstract concepts. They're practical, non-negotiable parts of every business, whether you're a startup with 5 employees or a growing company with hundreds. First, there's vision. Without a clear, shared vision, people move in different directions. Clarity is the cornerstone. Everyone in the organization must understand exactly where the business is going and how it plans to get there. It's not just about putting words on a wall. It's about creating alignment and ownership at every level. Second is people. You can't achieve a strong vision without a strong team. Wickman doesn't mince words. You need the right people in the right seats. That means hiring, promoting, and sometimes letting go based on values and capability, not convenience or loyalty. Third, data. EOS demands that you stop managing by gut feelings and start managing by facts. Every organization should boil its performance down to a handful of meaningful numbers that create a pulse, so that the health of the company is instantly visible. With real data, you eliminate subjectivity and focus on what matters. Fourth, issues. Wickman emphasizes that every business has problems. What separates successful ones is their ability to identify, discuss, and solve them, quickly and permanently. EOS gives companies a process to confront the tough stuff head-on, instead of burying it or endlessly debating it. Fifth is process. Many entrepreneurs resist the idea of systems, fearing it'll stifle creativity. But Wickman argues the opposite. Process sets you free. By clearly identifying and documenting your core procedures, how things get done, who does them, and in what order, you create consistency, reduce mistakes, and allow people to focus on what really matters. And finally, traction. This is where everything comes together. Vision without traction is just hallucination. Real traction comes from discipline and accountability, 2 things many organizations lack. EOS teaches teams to set priorities, follow through, and execute every single week with focus and intensity. Chapter 1 isn't just about defining EOS, it's about diagnosing your business. Wickman invites readers to assess their own companies against these 6 components. Where are you strong? Where are you weak? He's brutally honest. If even one of these 6 is broken, it can drag your business down. But if you strengthen all 6, everything changes. Growth becomes easier. People become more engaged. Problems get solved faster. The business becomes fun again. But US isn't for everyone. Wickman draws a line in the sand. If you're not ready to be open, honest, and willing to change, then don't waste your time. EOS only works for leaders who are sick of spinning their wheels, leaders who want to stop working in the business and start working on it. And maybe most important of all, Wickman wants entrepreneurs to reclaim what they originally sought when they started: freedom. Freedom from stress. Freedom from micromanaging. Freedom from being the bottleneck. EOS gives you the structure and tools to build a business that works for you, not the other way around. So, Chapter 1 is more than an introduction. It's a challenge. Are you ready to stop surviving and start leading? Are you ready to install a simple, effective system that gives you clarity, control, and yes, traction? Because that's exactly where this journey begins. Chapter 2. Letting go of the vine. In Chapter 2 of Traction, Get a Grip on Your Business, Gino Wickman speaks directly to the heart of the entrepreneur who feels overwhelmed, trapped, and stretched beyond capacity. The title, Letting Go of the Vine, isn't just clever phrasing. It's a metaphor for a mindset shift that every founder must undergo if they want to stop being the bottleneck in their own business. Holding onto the vine is safe. It's familiar, but it's also what keeps your business stuck. Letting go is the only path to growth. Wickman argues that entrepreneurs often sabotage their own companies without realizing it. They're afraid to let go because they believe no one else can do the work as well as they can. They micromanage, cling to responsibilities, and justify their involvement with the belief that they're holding everything together. But in reality, they're creating a fragile system where everything revolves around them. The moment they step away, everything starts to crack. Wickman makes it plain. If you want your business to scale, you have to stop doing everything yourself. You need to trust others and build a structure that doesn't rely on your constant presence. This is where the 5 leadership abilities come into play. Wickman outlines them not as optional skills, but as non-negotiables. These are the muscles you have to develop if you want to evolve from founder to true leader. The first ability is to simplify. As your business grows, complexity becomes your enemy. More clients, more team members, more problems, more systems, it can all spiral into chaos. But great leaders know how to cut through the noise. They take complicated issues and boil them down to simple, actionable solutions. They prioritize what really matters and help their teams focus on the essentials, not the distractions. The second ability is to delegate. This is often the hardest for entrepreneurs because it means trusting someone else to carry the ball. But you can't scale without it. Wickman explains that true delegation isn't about dumping tasks. It's about transferring responsibility. It means giving people ownership of outcomes, not just tasks, and then getting out of their way. It's uncomfortable at first, but delegation is what turns a busy founder into a focused visionary. The third is to predict. This means developing the foresight to anticipate what's coming, both in the short term and long term. In the short term, it's about setting priorities for the week, month, or quarter. In the long term, it's about understanding trends, preparing for growth, and steering the company around obstacles before they become disasters. Great leaders don't react, they plan. The fourth leadership ability is to systemize. Every successful business has a backbone of documented, repeatable processes. These processes allow the company to function with consistency and efficiency. Wickman encourages entrepreneurs to identify their core processes, write them down, and train their teams to follow them. This doesn't stifle creativity. It actually enables freedom. When people know how to execute the basics, they're free to innovate where it counts. Finally, the fifth ability is to structure. As your company grows, the structure that got you to this point will start to break down. Roles become unclear. People wear too many hats, and decision-making becomes sluggish. Wickman insists that leaders must regularly reassess and adjust their organizational structure to match their current reality. That means creating clarity around roles, responsibilities, and reporting lines, so that everyone knows what's expected and who's accountable. Throughout the chapter, Wickman drives home a tough but liberating truth. You are the ceiling. If your business isn't growing, it's because you haven't grown past your need to control everything. The moment you start building a system that operates without your constant intervention, your company can finally stretch beyond your personal limitations. Letting go of the vine isn't easy. It means stepping into discomfort, releasing control, and allowing others to step up. But it's also the turning point, the moment when you stop working in the business and start working on it. Wickman doesn't sugarcoat this chapter. He challenges you to look in the mirror and decide if you're truly ready to lead, or if you're still clinging to the idea that only you can do it all. So, if you're tired of the chaos, if you're sick of solving the same problems, and if you feel like you're working harder than ever with little to show for it, the answer isn't to double down on doing more. The answer is to step back, build a leadership system, and let go of the vine. Because that's when the real traction begins. Chapter 3: The Vision Component. In Chapter 3 of Traction, Get a Grip on Your Business, Gino Wickman dives deep into what he calls the vision component, a make-or-break element in any company's success. He argues that most business leaders assume their team knows where the company is headed, but that assumption is often wrong. In reality, most employees are left guessing. They're working hard, sure, but not always toward the same goals. This misalignment creates wasted energy, confusion, and slow progress. That's why Wickman introduces a simple but powerful tool, the Vision or Traction Organizer V/2, a two-page framework designed to get everyone aligned, moving in the same direction and crystal clear on where the company is going. The V/TO works by forcing leadership teams to answer 8 specific questions, each of them critical to creating and communicating a unified company vision. It starts with identifying core values, which are the foundational beliefs that define the culture of your business. These values aren't for decoration. They need to be lived out daily. According to Wickman, the right core values help you attract and retain the right people, and repel the wrong ones. They are the criteria for hiring, firing, promoting, and leading. Next comes the core focus, which is about defining your organization's purpose and niche. Wickman breaks this down into 2 parts: your purpose/cause/passion and your niche. The purpose is the why that drives your organization, while the niche defines exactly what you do better than anyone else. By narrowing your focus, you eliminate distractions and build momentum in the areas that matter most. Then comes the 10-year target, a long-range goal that provides direction and ambition. This isn't just a number pulled from the sky. It's a concrete target, such as a revenue milestone, number of locations, or market impact, that serves as your North Star. Everyone in the company should know it and be able to repeat it. It gives meaning to the day-to-day grind. Wickman then moves into the marketing strategy, which zeroes in on your ideal customer and how you communicate with them. The strategy includes defining your target market, crafting your 3 uniques, the 3 things that set you apart, establishing your proven process, the way you consistently deliver value, and identifying your guarantee, something that removes risk for the customer. This level of clarity helps you cut through noise and speak directly to the right audience. From there, the V/2 transitions into the 3-year picture. This is where vision becomes vivid. It includes specific, measurable elements like revenue, profit, and number of employees, but also the qualitative aspects, like what the office culture feels like and how the company is perceived. Wickman encourages leaders to paint this picture in clear, inspiring language, because it gives your team something to see and believe in. Once the 3-year vision is solid, it's time to set your 1-year plan. This is about narrowing focus to the next 12 months. What are the 3 to 7 most important goals your company must achieve in the next year? These should be clear, measurable, and realistic. They are your scoreboard. If everything is a priority, then nothing is. To stay on track, Wickman emphasizes the importance of quarterly rocks, short-term priorities that break the 1-year plan into manageable chunks. Every quarter, your leadership team identifies 3 to 7 top priorities and commits to them with laser focus. This discipline creates accountability and forward motion. The final section of the V/TO is the issues list. This is where you write down every obstacle, challenge, or worry standing in your way. Instead of hiding issues or pretending they'll go away, Wickman says to confront them head-on. Listing your issues doesn't solve them immediately, but it makes them visible, which is the first step to resolving them. But it doesn't stop with filling out the V/2. Wickman is emphatic. The vision must be shared. First, the leadership team must be 100% aligned. If there's any disagreement or fuzzy understanding among the top leaders, it will show up in the culture. Once the leadership team is aligned, the vision should be communicated clearly and consistently to the entire organization, at least once every quarter. Repetition builds belief. When everyone in the organization can repeat the answers to the 8 questions in the V/2, you create a unified front that moves as one. Chapter 3 isn't just about clarity, it's about building unity and focus. Wickman's message is simple but strong. Businesses don't fail for lack of effort, they fail for lack of alignment. And alignment begins with vision. With the V/2 in place, you finally have a roadmap that gets your whole team working toward the same destination 1 quarter at a time. Chapter 4, the people component. In Chapter 4 of Traction, Get a Grip on Your Business, Gino Wickman zeroes in on what he calls the people component, arguably the most emotionally charged and often the most neglected area of leadership. He makes it clear from the start. If you don't have the right people in the right seats, your company will never gain real traction. It doesn't matter how clear your vision is or how well-crafted your strategy might be. If the wrong people are carrying it out, it's all going to break down eventually. So what does Wickman mean by right people and right seats? The right people are those who align with your core values, not just when you're watching but especially when you're not. These are people whose behavior naturally supports the culture you're trying to build. You don't have to beg them to show up, act right, or make decisions that align with your values, they just do. They bring a kind of cultural alignment that can't be faked. Then there's the right seat part, and this is where many businesses start to falter. It's not enough for someone to be a good culture fit if they're not actually getting the job done. That's why Wickman introduces the GWC filter, which stands for Gets It, Wants It, and has the capacity to do it. These are the 3 questions you ask to determine if someone truly belongs in a specific role. Do they get the job, not just understand the tasks, but grasp the role in a deeper way? Do they genuinely want it, meaning are they motivated by the work? And do they have the capacity, the skills, the knowledge, the emotional bandwidth, and the time to do it effectively? If the answer is no to any of these, then that person may not be in the right seat, even if they are the right person. To make this assessment more practical, Wickman introduces a simple tool called the People Analyzer. Here's how it works. List your core values along one side of a chart, and your team members across the top. Then evaluate each person against each core value using 3 possible marks. A plus, if they live the value consistently, a plus/, if they live it sometimes, and a, if they rarely or never embody it. This isn't guesswork. It's a structured way to assess alignment. Then, run each individual through the GWC checklist to see if they're in the right seat. The moment of truth comes when you lay it all out. If someone doesn't consistently live the company's core values, they're not the right person, even if they're a top performer. And if they don't GWC their seat, then they need to move to a different one, or exit the company entirely. Wickman doesn't sugarcoat this. Keeping the wrong person out of fear, guilt, or habit damages the company and disrespects the rest of the team. Even worse, it slows everyone down. There's no good enough when it comes to people. There's only right or wrong. That said, not every misalignment calls for termination. Wickman emphasizes that if someone is the right person but in the wrong seat, the solution is to delegate and elevate. Find a role that aligns with what they GWC, and elevate them into it. That's how you turn a liability into an asset. But don't hesitate. Tolerating misalignment, even out of compassion, breeds resentment, confusion, and dysfunction. Culture is built by what you allow, and what you tolerate is what you become. Wickman challenges leaders to stop avoiding the tough people decisions. He knows it's hard. He's seen founders wrestle for years with whether to let go of a loyal, but underperforming team member. But he's also seen what happens when leaders make the right call. Energy returns to the team, accountability improves, and momentum builds. The people component is not just about organizational health, it's about business velocity. So if you're leading a team, Wickman is giving you a mandate in this chapter. Be honest, be clear, and be courageous. Assess everyone on your team with the People Analyzer. Get real about your core values. Make sure every person GWCs their seat. Because until you get the right people in the right seats, no amount of strategy, vision, or execution will save you. The people problem isn't one part of the business, it's every part of it. And if you solve it here, everything else gets easier. Chapter 5, the Issues Component. Solve your problems once and for all. In this chapter of Traction, Gino Wickman confronts one of the most frustrating realities in business: persistent problems that never get fully addressed. Every business has issues. Some are obvious. Others are quietly buried under politeness, fear, or just sheer overwhelm. But here's the deal. If you don't have a way to face your issues, talk about them openly, and resolve them decisively, they'll slowly drain your company's energy, your people's motivation, and your own leadership confidence. That's where the issues component comes in. Wickman insists that to truly gain traction, you must develop the ability to solve problems permanently, not just patch them temporarily or discuss them endlessly in meetings with no resolution. And solving problems starts with being honest enough to admit you have them. Wickman breaks this down into a three-part system. It begins with creating issues lists. He recommends that every business maintain at least 2 permanent issues lists, one for the leadership team and one for each department. These lists aren't for venting or collecting complaints. They're practical tools to help the team stay aware of what's getting in the way. Every time something isn't working, or someone identifies a gap, it goes on the list. If it's slowing you down, confusing your team, causing frustration, or affecting performance, it belongs there. This could be anything from a flawed process to a recurring customer complaint to communication gaps between departments. The point is, get it out of your head and onto the list. But listing problems doesn't solve them. That's where Wickman introduces his powerful problem-solving method. IDS: identify, discuss, and solve. This approach transforms weekly meetings from boring status updates into focused sessions where real progress is made. Identify is the first step, and it's often the most important. Here you dig beneath the surface of the issue to understand its root cause. If you're just solving symptoms, the same problem will resurface again and again. Wickman urges teams to slow down and ask hard questions. What's really going on here? Why does this issue keep coming back? For example, if a sales team isn't hitting targets, is the real problem poor training, a lack of follow-up systems, unclear roles, or maybe even the wrong people in key positions? Don't assume, dig. Next comes discuss. This isn't just a roundtable of opinions. It's a structured, focused conversation to bring all perspectives to the table. The goal is to get all the facts, challenge assumptions, and clarify what matters. Wickman warns against one of the biggest traps here: endless discussion with no decision. Many leadership teams talk problems to death but never fix anything. You must stay disciplined. Keep the discussion sharp, brief, and solution-focused. Then comes solve, the finish line of the IDS process. Solving doesn't mean coming up with a vague intention to work on it or look into it. It means deciding what concrete action will be taken by whom and by when. That action then goes onto the to-do list, and the issue is considered handled, done. And here's a key principle Wickman drives home. When an issue is truly solved, it should never come back. If it does, then you didn't solve the root cause. You treated a symptom. Go deeper. But for any of this to work, Wickman emphasizes that your organization must foster a culture of open, honest communication. This is the hidden ingredient that makes IDS effective. People need to feel safe enough to speak their minds, share uncomfortable truths, and challenge one another with respect. This level of transparency doesn't just happen, you have to model it as a leader. Admit your own mistakes. Invite feedback. Show people that honesty is valued over comfort. And when issues are genuinely unsolvable, things like government regulation, economic shifts, or market volatility, Wickman advises you to manage them. That means acknowledging the challenge, determining your best strategy for dealing with it, and clearly communicating that plan to your team. Don't ignore these tough realities, but don't let them become excuses either. Finally, Wickman offers a practical tip for managing your issues list efficiently. Prioritize your top 3 issues each week. You can't tackle everything at once. If you try, you'll dilute your energy and make minimal progress. Start each weekly meeting by reviewing the full list, then choose the 3 most important or pressing issues, and IDS them first. This helps your team focus where it matters most, and ensures your meetings actually move the business forward. So what Wickman really teaches in this chapter is more than just how to fix problems. It's how to build a culture where problems don't linger, where people take responsibility, where conversations get real, and where solving problems becomes a weekly habit, not a stressful emergency. This issues component is what makes everything else in the EOS system work better. With it, your company can finally stop tiptoeing around problems and start knocking them down one by one until momentum becomes unstoppable. Chapter 6. The Process Component. Systemize your business. In Chapter 6 of Traction, Gino Wickman explains that every great business is built on a foundation of simple, clear, and well-documented processes. Without them, you're operating in chaos. With them, you're building something that runs smoothly and scales effortlessly. This is the heart of the process component: identifying, documenting, and getting everyone to follow the essential systems that keep your company humming. Most companies have anywhere from 6 to 10 core processes. These include areas like human resources, marketing, sales, operations, customer retention, accounting, and customer service. The idea isn't to write out 100-page manuals no one will read. Wickman urges leaders to focus on the high-level steps that get 80% of the results with just 20% of the effort. Simplicity wins here. Use bullet points, checklists, or flowcharts, whatever helps clarify the steps. But documentation is only the beginning. The real power comes when those processes are actually followed. This is what Wickman calls followed by all, or FBA. If everyone isn't using the same playbook, then the systems break down. You can't scale excellence if each person is doing things their own way. You need alignment. And that starts with training, repetition, and leadership modeling the behavior. Why is this important? Because inconsistency is the enemy of growth. When you don't have processes, people spend time figuring things out from scratch. New hires don't know what to do. Customers get different experiences depending on who they're dealing with. And if a key person leaves, their knowledge leaves with them. With documented processes, your company becomes resilient. You don't rely on memory or individuals, you rely on systems. Wickman gives a simple 3-step plan to strengthen this component. First, identify your core processes. Sit with your leadership team and determine the handful of critical functions that make your business run. Not everything matters equally, zero in on the few that drive results. Second, document those processes in a simple, high-level format. Don't overcomplicate this. You just want to define the steps so someone new could understand what to do. Think of it as creating a clear, how we do things here guide for each part of the company. Third, make sure those processes are followed by all. This means integrating them into your hiring, training, evaluations, and day-to-day management. Everyone from the top to the bottom needs to buy in. If someone doesn't follow the process, it should be a coaching conversation. If the process needs to evolve, update it. But don't let people freelance without reason. One of Wickman's most powerful insights is that once your processes are documented and followed, your business becomes franchise-ready. This doesn't mean you'll franchise it, but it means you could. That's how simple, repeatable, and consistent your operations become. You're not just running a business, you're building a machine that runs with or without you. And here's the beautiful irony. Structure doesn't kill freedom. It creates it. When your team knows exactly how to do their jobs and how success is measured, it frees you to think big. It frees them to innovate, serve customers better, and solve real problems instead of putting out fires all day. So if you've been running your business by feel, relying on memory or hope, Chapter 6 is your wake-up call. It's time to stop winging it. Strong processes are what take you from messy startup to sustainable, scalable success. Systemize the predictable so you can humanize the exceptional. That's the power of the process component.